love camping, and I'm going to be very real. Like, I love camping, but camping in the desert with thousands of people that I do not know and are likely on drugs is a hard pass for me.
Yeah, it's a bit different, right?
Like, it's not like I go camping to relax and chill. I also would never desert camp because she doesn't like dry, hot places.
I feel like it's not just camping, it's like stranding. Ooh, I'm stranded here. Like I'm waiting for the concerts, but while I'm stranded, let's all do drugs and roll around in the desert ground. Hopefully we find out what the heck Coachella means or where that name came from.
It's the town.
Okay. Well, podcast's over. See you next time, guys.
I'm pretty sure it's in like the town of Coachella. I could be wrong because it might be in Indio, California too.
And I will say, whoever stole my phone, good guy. He turned in my ID. You go a week or two prior to the event. You bury a bottle of vodka.
No caching.
You have to be kidding me.
You bury a bottle of vodka near like an identifiable tree. And then you go in after the festival starts and you dig up the vodka and you have a full handle. And then not only do you have your own stuff for you, you can sell other people vodka for $10 a shot. Like my girlfriend and I split like a jerk chicken, which of course is like the classic rave food. We had a jerk.
I
think classic rave food is like ecstasy and water. Dude, I got my balls tapped once.
As you should.
Now you have a new king.
Yeah,
now you have
didn't
a new
even
king.
Have to pay for it. Yeah, it was nice. But no, it was at a rave in New York. This guy just without
was it just like
anything.
Like a slight bloop, or was it like a caress? Like
it was a bloop, but it was an aggressive bloop.
Hey friends, welcome to the podcast. That's right, I said friends. When you're here, you're friends. It's the actually I won't name drop a brand in our opening. I'll just say, hey friends, welcome in.
Hi, friend.
I'm Rebecca.
And I'm another friend, and I'm Jackie. And we're here for another day.
We're here to do what friends do. We're here to speculate wildly about subjects we know nothing. And then dig up some truth together, because that's what friends do.
Mm-hmm. They help
We're
each
experts
other out.
now.
We are experts now. Mm-hmm. How you been, Bex?
I've been pretty great. Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm back. I've been spending some time with my cat, bonding again. I was traveling for a little bit, so I've just been getting all the kitty cuddles. How about you?
I think you called her Liddy Kitty the other day, and I love that moment. We need to stop talking about our cats and our therapists so much on this podcast.
Hey, I kicked my therapist to the curb, so I haven't been talking about him.
That's true. I don't know if I'm proud of you, but anyways, what I've been up to is I have been learning a new skill. And as you know, when you learn a new skill, what are you usually at the beginning? An amateur.
Oh, yeah, an amateur. An amateur, no judgment.
We have a segment on this show called Amateur Alerts. So.
Well, what am I always, no matter how hard I try for the rest of my life till the end of time? An amateur. But also bad. Bad to the bone.
So I have been learning this new skill, as you know, is video editing. And I could probably spend a whole episode telling you about all of the amateur things that I have been doing, but...
Well, when you're an expert, you can come and break it down for us.
I don't think that's ever going to happen, but I will start with, not only am I an amateur at video editing, but I am also an amateur at being video recorded. Because as I look back, somehow, Bex, you have this ability to sit like perfectly still and the same area, and like your face is right, everything is right. And then over on my side of the screen, I'm like swinging in my chair, I'm messing with stuff on the side, like my hands are everywhere. I like don't stay in one place. So I've just learned that my amateur alert this week is like my complete inability to not only sit still, but especially do it when it would be nice if I wasn't creating chaos on the screen at all times. So
very interesting. Not where I thought that was going at all. That's really interesting. And you know what? I would say some of my composure, years of training. some of my composure, deep-seated insecurities.
Oh, I
And
thought you were going to go with years of trauma, but
yeah,
insecurities also
years
works.
it's training and trauma, basically.
The two
It's
T's.
like
Everyone needs
I'm
them.
trying to get more like you. I'm trying to get more liberal with my emotions and more, untethered. And I think if we could meet in the middle, perfect.
This reminds me of when I got sent to wilderness camp when I was a teenager. That's for bad kids, for those of you who don't know, aka I got Montana'd. I just always remember there was
Hannah? Montana?
no, not Hannah Montana.
Oh.
That would have been great. No, I just remember there was like one girl there who they always said like wouldn't express her emotions and was too cold and that she needed to like cry and let things out. And on the other hand, they would always be like, Jackie, you're completely overly emotional. Get your shit together. Like, stop crying for 5 days straight. And my 15-year-old brain could never understand moderation. And so I was always just like, they're giving us totally conflicting advice. They don't even know what they're talking about. Older me has connected that, which leads me back to what you were saying of, you know
different
what?
rodeos, different clowns.
Never heard that before in my life.
I think I made it up, but it's like
it checks out. It checks out.
Mental health is not a one size fits all solution.
No, it's never been, never will be.
Which is why I quit my therapist. That's right. I'm bringing it back to therapy. No, just kidding. Okay.
Okay. What are we talking about this week?
Oh God. What are we talking about this week? We're talking about an unforgettable experience that people crave and take pilgrimages to. They mortgage their house in order to pay for it. They give up everything to be here.
Where?
Coachella, baby.
Coachella. Oh, that's a good. Everyone has so listeners, this will be in the future when this comes out, but I believe, was Coachella last week or was it the week before? It just happened, right?
It's 2 weekends. So weekend 1 finished with a bit of a scandal. Ooh. And weekend 2 is about to be upon us.
Okay, so, and I know you're not the expert, but do you have to go to both weekends?
No, usually you go to one or the other, which is something, actually, both of these things I didn't know. I feel like this is a lot like when I learned that football has 2 teams on one team, like an offense and a defense. I was like, that's crazy. I had no idea. That seems
still
like
one team.
Should have been designed better. Well, the offense team, the defense team, that's 2 different teams. They don't have much crossover. Sometimes apparently there is exceptions, but like with Coachella, you're either going weekend 1 or weekend 2, typically. Okay. I don't think that you usually camp between. It's not the same people? It is sometimes. Like I think the musical artists are the same. Yeah. Okay, maybe some might be different, but like the headliner is going to be the same. I know for sure because that's what the scandal was revolving around. I shouldn't even say scandal, but a snafu where the headliner Frank Ocean, who came out of Odd Future Wolfgang, I think is where he first started, but has been like around for a long time and making like really important kind of boundary pushing music, but then had a real slowdown in his output and his live performances. And this was supposed to be his first time back performing in like 6 years. And he came on an hour late. They were tearing down the set while he was performing because apparently there was supposed to be this ice rink. And at the last minute, like as he was supposed to be performing, as his show was supposed to be starting, he was like, actually scrapped the ice rink. So they were like deconstructing the stage. The ice skaters who had been hired to skate around him were just walking in circles around him. There was like all sorts of chaos. And some people were like, oh, it's performance art. And some people were like, this is not like his performance, even though he does do performance art. This is like just clearly chaos. And then it was really short and people were, heinously disappointed that it's like a little bit of a, it's definitely a first world problem kind of situation. But I did hear then people were like, well, let's see what he does for weekend 2. Will he pull it out for weekend 2? So.
Okay. I don't know who anybody or anything was in that story or why there was ice skaters in the desert.
That's Yeah, that's what to me it was like, man, it's crazy that they had to bring that all in and then tear it all down. It feels very wasteful. But also I think we've placed a heavy burden on our performing artists in this day and age, and the amount we expect
Have
people.
we? Is it
Well,
us?
like Janice, I heard I heard a comparison recently of like Justin Bieber has been going through a lot of health issues. He's had some face paralyzation. He has had like have surgery on his vocal cords. And there was an article I was reading how he has performed already 10 times as much as Janis Joplin ever performed in her life. And
Oh.
we have this like demanding performance schedule that, you know, I'm not going to say that I feel like I'm already getting into wading into turbulent waters here with these this is far off of the topic, but it is crazy the amount that we demand of artists to perform live, and that they need, you know, self-care and breaks as well.
I think this is true across all industries, though. Like, if I'm really being honest, I think that, like, out of the 90s and the early 2000s came, especially coming out of the Great Recession, this pride in how much you work, how much you do. Oh, I worked 75 hours last. Oh, you only worked 60? Wow, you're just not committed. And I think that's something that we've seen, like, more and more, that, like, whatever you have to give, someone out there is willing to give more, and therefore you're not enough for that. And I don't agree with that. I don't think that's right. And I think I have seen a shift in culture since the pandemic of people trying to have more work-life balance, and trying to have, enjoy our lives as well as grind. Like, if you love I'm a workaholic. I love my job. I love what I do, but I also want to enjoy my life. So I think you're totally right about that with entertainers as well. We're seeing it across everything, and people do deserve rest and relaxation and self-care.
Yeah, I think it's just we've seen a change in how the industry works, and we talked about a bit about this with Gracie on our upcoming, I'm like, did we already past prior episode or upcoming episode about songwriting and the way the industry has changed, and that artists used to make money off of their albums, and now it's all about concerts and ticket sales, and just that's a different kind of demand to do all those live performances. And then you see, you know, the sort of crazy indentured servitude kind of contracts that a lot of South Korean boy bands and pop bands have, where they're
Oh,
really
really?
abusive and they're hard to get out of and strenuous.
Well,
So
look at what the industry did to Britney,
yeah.
right? Like, I freaking love Britney. Like, I girl is a queen, but I think we, as a society, the fact that people continue to consume like her struggles is okay.
But putting all
We
that
diverge.
aside, we're going to put on our crop tops and our booty shorts and
And
our glow sticks, and we're going
glow
to get
sticks.
out to the desert.
We're going to the desert and we're camping.
Typically camping, maybe car camping, maybe glamping, and maybe just raw dogging it on the ground with a tent.
I love camping, and I'm going to be very real. Like, I love camping, but camping in the desert with thousands of people that I do not know and are likely on drugs is a hard pass for me.
Yeah, it's a bit different, right?
Like, it's not like I go camping to relax and chill. I also would never desert camp because she doesn't like dry, hot places.
I feel like it's not just camping, it's like stranding. Ooh, I'm stranded here. Like, I'm waiting for the concerts, but while I'm stranded, let's all do drugs and roll around in the desert ground.
It's like Burning Man. Like, people are like, "Oh, it's the best experience of my life." And I'm like, "I'm good." Like, you enjoy it. Like, you have so much fun. I love this for you. But again, especially, I remember when it rained a bunch a few years ago, and I think we touch on this in my festivals episode as well. Like, when you put a bunch of people in the desert, for example, you're expecting dry conditions. A few years ago, it rained and a bunch of people got Zika because there was so much rain, the water all pooled, and then there was
Ooh.
tons of mosquitoes. So I think, one, my first questions when it comes to Coachella, because I think you're going to have very different questions than me, but what are the planning steps? What do I need to bring? Who do I contact with issues? Is there a safety plan? Where do I park? Where's my camping? Like, do I bring my own camping gear? Can I bring my own food in? Can I cook food there, or do I have to have pre-made food? Can I leave to go get food? I'm starting to
Well,
panic.
I think another one of the scandals was that the food cost so much. So I saw a TikTok going around if it was like $60 for a burrito and 2 lattes. They really can gouge you because they know you don't really have many other recourses out there in the desert. Again, stranded.
Well, and we talked about that, like, again, on the festivals episode, where you almost always see that you're not allowed to bring water in and that you have to buy water for them because everybody needs water, especially when you're doing
God,
drugs
so
or you're
predatory.
drinking a lot of alcohol. Even if you're just hanging out and you're in the hot sun all day, you're going to need a lot of water. So I think the basic needs, how do I meet my basic needs at Coachella is the first thing I'm going to want to know. Like, how do I sleep? Is it quiet? Right? Like, or is there like a drum circle 5 cars down and I'm never going to sleep? Because I'm going to tell you right now, if I don't get my sleep, it's not going to be a fun festival for anyone.
I'm just going to go in assuming sleep is a luxury. But again, I don't have any problems with sleeping. I'm a youngest child. I've slept through car accidents. I could sleep standing up. No
You
problem.
always say this to me, and I just feel like you just try to rub it in because you're like, hey, best friend who has severe insomnia, is always tired and grumpy, and just all she wants to do is have a good night's sleep. Never happens.
But I take it as a personal defect of my own, actually. I think it means I'm a very boring, sleepy person. And I'm like, I wish I felt like awake all the time, but I always feel tired. And I'm like ready to go to bed whenever.
I'm an anxious, neurotic person who can't ever sleep because I'm too much on edge. These are our true specs. And we just need to like see them. Okay. Basic needs being met. Second, then, I think my second priority
looking
after
good.
Okay, that's number 3. Second priority.
My first priority is, what are my outfits?
Well, that's what I was. No, okay. That's again number 3. Is my second is entertainment and how do I get to them? Because that's going to determine my makeup and outfits. Because like if I'm seeing like a rap group, I'm going to dress very differently than if I'm seeing like a vibe Janis Joplin type of musician, right?
True.
Then I'm going to get my hippie skirt out. I'm going to get my mellow like big sunglasses, do my hair all down versus, if I'm listening to a rap group, we're putting my booty shorts on, we're getting that crop top up, I'm wearing my fishnets. This is when those fishnets come out. And maybe some high thigh high boots.
I feel like that's very appropriate for Coachella. The fishnets, the high boots. But then it's like, yeah, you're in the desert. I feel like I want to wear sandals, or I'm glad tennis shoes are finally making a comeback in fashion right now.
Okay, thigh high fishnet boots.
Boots made of fishnets? What are you, avant-garde?
Bex. I watch a lot of what was that show?
Project Runway.
Project Runway, and now they have
Make
a
it
new
work,
one.
ladies. Make it work. Designers, sorry, not ladies.
I literally have so many books written by Tim Gunn because that man is a godsend, and I would fangirl so hard. Like if I could meet him and Obama, I could die a happy woman. Okay, so now we're okay.
What a dinner that would be.
Basic needs. Now we got I'm going with entertainment next, and then my outfits, because this girl's gonna come in hot with her 14 bags of luggage, and I'm gonna pay for VIP. I think this is where you and I might diverge. If I'm going to Coachella, I'm having VIP, so someone better be taking care of me.
I think you and I would have totally different experiences. I'm envisioning this happening for me as I find out last minute someone I've gone on a first date with is like, hey, I'm going to Coachella tomorrow. Do you want to hitch a ride with us? And I'm like, sure, let me pack my bag. Let me throw every crop top and legging I have in there. Let's put my sandals on. Oh my God, do you have a phone charger? Okay, great. Let's figure out the plane let's build the plane as we're flying it and then show up to the festival and be like, I didn't know you had to bring that. Let me rely on the kindness of strangers and borrow chapstick my way through Coachella and just see who I see and discover a new artist there and, come back like with a different person than I came to the festival with.
That actually is the most Bex story. And honestly, 20s Jackie would have totally been down with that. Like 20s Jackie was like, yeah, last minute trip, everything's great, whatever. We'll figure it out. Now I'm like, I don't need an itinerary, but I need to make sure my basic needs are met. And if they aren't met, can I throw money at the problem?
Yeah.
Because that's my first response. Is it a money thing? Because I'll do that. If I can be around, well, and you and I have talked about this offline, but my genius brother and his wife have decided to buy Lizzo tickets in Lisbon
Oh,
for like a 55,000 person festival.
Lizzo in Lisbon.
Well, yes, but and my 10-year-old niece is coming and no one's ever been to a festival before. And so I think all of the tips that we're going to get from this Coachella conversation, you're going to see me like feverishly writing notes because I'm going to be like, what? We're bringing a 10-year-old in Europe to a festival. Okay, strap in, get ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they've got earplugs and all this stuff. I think they have noise canceling headphones now for babies. Although she's not a
She's
baby,
not a
but still,
baby.
you want to
She's
protect those eardrums, right?
okay. The best part is when you said this, I thought you meant for my brother because he's 40.
You know, the sensitive older man in the group needs to be kept calm with low level sounds. No,
He
I
might
don't know. I
get
feel like
stressed out.
anyone who's a minor, I'd be like, put some earplugs in there. You know, give them a chance. Give those ears a chance to make it into an adulthood without
I
hearing
mean,
loss.
I think that we're going to be so far from the stage because my brother and I both hate people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the likelihood that we are anywhere near a speaker is actually pretty
You're
low.
near an exit route at all times.
You know me so well.
Yeah. Well, you know, I feel like festivals are actually really not my bag. Even as I was describing how I probably would do Coachella, realizing I'm actually pretty it's just not my personality to go to things like that, know when they are, because it does feel like you have to kind of plan, you have to get the tickets when they're cheap, you have to know the group you're going with, and if it's even the artists you want to see are going, and all that kind of thing. Whereas when I was on the dating apps, would if someone had photos in their profile of them at Coachella, I was like, no,
Same.
we're
Actually,
not
like
gonna get
any
along.
festival like that, like it's going to be a hard swipe left. Like I have no
And this is,
interest in.
no judgment. And I love my friends who go
Yeah.
to Coachella, but I'm talking about like thinking about building a life with someone. I'm like, yeah, this is not the life I'm trying to build.
It's not a shared interest, and I think that like people who really enjoy festivals, like most of them like want to do that with their partner, right? Like I think that in general people who that is like something they really enjoy, they're a very social person, and so I'm with you.
Or at the
I
very least, they want to dance to EDM, which is just like, I can't imagine something I'm less engaged in unless I'm on drugs.
yeah, and I'm past that part of my life. So, Jesse, who's going to be on an episode sometime around when this one comes out, he is going to do the kickball episode, and he loves festivals. Like he enjoys
I thought you were
it.
gonna say he loves drugs. That's
No, no, he loves festivals. He enjoys it. That's his vibe. And I think even I have, as a people pleaser, agreed to go to them multiple times. Like this is how I ended up at a rave one time because he told me it was a block party. It was not a block party. It was most certainly, it was
he
an
meant that
outdoor
he's
rave.
blocked by everyone at this party. You need someone new to go with.
It was outdoor, and I was like, Jesus. But I think that's like, it is such a social thing, right? Like he loves to be in the middle of the crowd, surrounded by like thousands of people pushing up on him, and I'm like, that's the last thing I want. Like, do not, if I don't know you, don't touch me. Even on airplanes, it's always like a weird thing because I'm like, don't touch me, but it's kind of unavoidable to not touch someone on an airplane. But okay, in this scenario, we have bucked up and we have gone to the concert.
Clearly neither of us have actually been. So envisioning how it would, we've already gone through a couple steps of what we think we'd do just to get there.
Actually, we've talked more about how we wouldn't go than what we actually would do there. But I think that's why, like, I think this is, again, one of my favorite times when we have these topics that we don't know a lot about. We don't know what the experience about. And so I think when we get into it with the expert, it's always so fascinating because it's just so foreign. And we're like, how does it work? How do you get through security? Do they check you? Like, do they check your whole car? Is there a drug dog? you know? Do you got to get your
Yeah,
stuff
that's a
past your
good
jug top?
question. I did hear recently that there is a streaming only version of Coachella where you can tune in and watch live from the internet, or I think it's online only streaming, but you can get the music that way. And that kind of made me realize really this festival is, in the way it's set out to be, all about the music. Like it really is. And for me, I can totally understand why it would be such an amazing experience to see that many high level incredible artists in one place feeling the music. Like that would be really beautiful if you're prepared to, go with all the other elements, like the exposure to the literal elements of the, sun and desert, and just being in a crowded place and that kind of atmosphere.
I mean, when I was younger, I used to do Hardly Strictly. I did Love Fest. I've done Outside Lands. Like I used to do a ton of festivals when I
I've
was
done Metal
younger.
Fest. I've seen Slayer, Coheed and Cambria. I've seen a bunch
I
of
love that you pulled out
Manson.
metal. Okay, I've seen
Yeah.
all of them except Manson. I would be down. Coheed and Cambria, I'm not a fan, but I think I think it also, like, it was a different time in my life where my priorities and concerns were very, very different then. Like I really love to be in the middle of the crowd. Like I think I don't know. It's such a minute thing in my brain of like where I flip the switch of like I can plan a festival and feel 100% okay. But when I have no control over it, I get very, very anxious because again, we talked about this in the festivals episode. You don't know if there's a plan, right? There should be a plan for security, for safety, for health concerns, all of these things, but I don't know that. And as somebody who has now planned extensively very large events and seen what other people do and the bad choices that they make, it's easy for something like this to go wrong. And so I do think it is so amazing for these people who experience these things, right? Because this is their bliss and it's such like a moment. Like I remember like crowd surfing when I was 15 at Warp Tour, and like it was a highlight of my life at that point. And so I think one, it's a different type of personality than where I am in life, but those experiences still like live very strong in my memory. And I totally get why people spend the money. Like if that's your joy, then do it. That's awesome. I'm going to be on a beach by myself reading a book.
Well, the rest of you are at Coachella, we're hitting the beaches. But I think you are hitting on something, even of you saying you fear that loss of control and your planner brain activates. I think that might be the very point of Coachella, is going somewhere where you can be like, this is where I can lose control. This is where I can let it all out and dance all night and be so free and free spirited and be around music. And that's kind of the point, I think, is having a space for that. That's festival culture, baby. But I'm definitely interested to hear some more specifics about, I don't know. I think it's for the people that go to it, they probably have been going a long time. They started when they were young. They kind of know, they might be a veteran. I'm hoping that our expert will have some interesting firsthand experience. But do you think there's anything we're leaving out? Anything we
Are you
need
kidding
to?
me? Yes, we've left out so much and we don't even know what we've left out, Bex.
Oh no, I'm not
But we'll
ready for
find
the
out.
desert.
Oh, no, you're always ready for the desert. You
Yeah, I
love the
am.
desert. I'm not ready for the desert. This pale skin right here, this complexion,
Drop me off in the desert, baby.
she
I'm
burns quickly. So, okay, I think I don't I hesitate to say am I ready to become an expert on this topic because I don't want to go to Coachella, but I want to hear about it. I want to learn from our friends. I want to find out what the his happening is, but I don't know if I want to be an expert.
You know what? I'm giving myself over to the vibes of Coachella.
I love this for you.
Hopefully we find out what the heck Coachella means or where that name came from.
It's the town.
Okay. Well, podcast over. See you next time, guys.
I'm pretty sure it's in like the town of Coachella. I could be wrong because it might be in Indio, California too. Okay, we'll find out with our expert.
Okay, lots to find out. See you soon.
Welcome back, everyone, from the break. I hope you had a good time. I hope you used that 3 minutes to do something very, very special, meditate, I don't know, get some food from the kitchen. We are back for part 2. We have a guest here. Bex, who's the friend that you brought along with you?
Hi, everybody. Part 2, ready to go. I'm Bex. I'm starting to embrace the Bex nickname because you don't get to choose the nicknames you're given, so it always hits the ear a little strange, but I'm learning to love it. Okay, who do we got this week? Very exciting guest in the house. This is a friend whom I've met in the comedy scene, a fellow dastardly devil of the open mic and stand-up comedy world. Also works at, hopefully we can have him back for another episode. His day job is working at the suicide prevention hotline. So there's a fun fact for you. Mr. Tyler Strauss, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I think you did a great job. I would have loved to have my comedy credits listed without open mic first.
I know.
Yes, thank you very much. My ego was feeling good today, so I could have used that. Thanks.
I really love his Mount Rushmore, or his president's joke. So
yeah, so I am a comic out here in LA. I work at the Suicide Prevention Center during the day, so a fun little contrast there. I talk to suicidal people, and then I get to go work at the suicide hotline. But yeah, I'm just a big avid fan of comedy, helping people, and Coachella.
The 3 C's.
What a vibe right there, all rolled into one. You're just here for good times is actually what I'm getting. Like, you're like, everyone, let's just have a good time, either Coachella or maybe we're just talking about our feelings, which is what, a good time for me.
It was a matching of two people that need it. People need to talk to someone, and I need to talk to people. So they just matched us up, and there'll be points at the end of the calls where I'm like saying to them, they're like, "Oh, thanks so much. I feel a lot better." And I'm like, "But don't you want to? What else is going on? Like, let's keep talking." So
what else is going? No, just call me later, bro. We're friends now. We've been through this. We are tight. This is.
Let me get your Instagram real quick.
I mean, that's why I always thought I couldn't be a therapist. People were like, "Oh my God, you're so good at helping people." I'm like, "Yeah," and I can't stop. I literally have to fix and help, and I would get way too involved in someone's life, and they're like, "This is creepy." So I, avoided that line of work. But I'm glad someone else is.
Okay, well, don't keep us on the edge too long. Let us have it. How do we do part 1, breaking down Coachella? Which am I pronouncing wrong? Is it just Coachella? I think I'm saying the O, the A, every vowel in there.
It's both. I've said it as Coachella, but I've heard a lot of people that go every year say it as Coachella. I believe that the actual place is called Coachella Valley.
I'm not hearing the difference.
I was saying... I actually was adding a whole vowel. I was saying Coachella. And then someone was telling me it's just Coachella. But I guess there's also even a slight difference of Coachella versus Coachella.
Yeah, it becomes a very tomato kind of thing at that point. I hear everyone say Coachella versus Coachella. Coachella, that's wrong.
That's wrong. Okay.
I think you just dropped your score from a 2 to a 1. I'll be honest, you guys didn't do great on this one. It was, I think you also opened the episode with, I don't know much about this one. So I don't feel terrible about giving that score out. I will say, I think Jackie did a little better. Just because Jackie seemed to be a bit more concerned with a lot of stuff. And all of those things that she was concerned with are valid. They've been addressed. So I gave you a little bit more marks on that. Becca, I really think you kind of just repeatedly said, "I don't want to go." So I took those points off. And then I believe you closed it with, "Let's hope our expert can convince us to go to this thing." So I'm coming in assuming I'm kind of trying to dig myself out of a hole here and promote the brand, but
yeah,
I wish more men would come with that attitude, to be honest.
And that's why I was single for so long. But no.
Okay. That's fair.
What score did I get?
I'm going to give you a 4.
I don't think I've gotten below a 4 so far, so I'm really glad. You've definitely gotten below a 4, Bex. Just saying.
I like to keep expectations low and vibes high. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I feel like you had a lot of things that you were like floating around that were real kind of things. You were missing the mark a little bit, but you were like within the kind of closeness of it. So I'll give you a 4. I like that.
Okay, I will take that. I appreciate. As an event planner, I really feel like I should have been ready. And Bex is an event planner too, but I feel like that's like not her like passion. It's not my passion either. I'm gonna stop talking.
But I have a
your coworkers are listening to this, just hearing how Becca doesn't care about event planning.
They know.
We love you guys.
I do my best, but once I clock out, the brain is off. Yes. I think I have a lot of preconceived notions about Coachella, and a lot of also like, I took up the antagonist flag of Coachella early on, and so I've just sort of let those negative assumptions ride, And I'm here. I'm open. I'm ready to have my mind changed and challenged.
Yeah, well, I am excited to be able to bring you this topic. So Coachella, I went in with the same idea. I was like, I am not a hippie. I am not into this kind of thing. I'm not a flower child. Not going to be for me. But I will say, I am changed. I am now full Team Coachella. I've been going to music festivals for a while, so I had very high expectations, but most of the ones I had gone to were like big raves. So I'd been to like Ultra in Miami a bunch of times, and EDC and EZoo and all that stuff. And so I was like, all right, this will be fun, but weird. And people will be kind of like just tripping and watching, walls move and stuff. Not true. Coachella is tons of fun. It was just unbelievable. Every single stage had a different type of music, a really great act, but also like something that was different from EDM festivals was they changed the like stage between every act. So if you had a rap group, they wanted it to be set up with like, I want a drummer to be like featured because they're going to be like playing our beat. And then maybe the DJ's over here, and then like a cool little, maybe it's Pusha T and he wants like snow on the ground or something. Well, then in between Pusha T and the person who went after him, they removed all of that and then set up like a completely different stage based on the next act. And so every act had a different stage that was perfect for their style of music. Every act was like perfectly placed based on how big they are. So the main stage was like the big people. The next stage over was still massive people, but you didn't have like a Calvin Harris on a tiny stage, and you didn't have a No Name on the main stage. It was all fantastic. And there was someone for everyone. So I need energy. I need it to be fast. I need it to be something I can like dig my teeth into. And my girlfriend is super R&B, slow music, very opposite. So she would go and hang out with all the other people in like the, flowers in their hair kind of thing, and listen to people I've never heard of. And then I was over at like, Ray Shremmerd, reliving 2015 or whatever that was. So unbelievable. I will say, I saw a bunch of people that I did not know existed. I learned a bunch of new acts, but also they had people that were like, why are they here? But amazing that they are. Like Blondie was there.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. Like I'm going out and, my girlfriend's like, oh, let's go see this one act, whatever it was, like, Flower Monster Child. And I'm just like, all right, cool, let's go see him. And then we'd go over from there and we'd see Blondie, and I'd be like, I know every song here.
You're like, let's go see this unknown Debbie Harry and see whatever comes of her career.
Yeah, and she's crazy. She's like 77. She has no clue where she is. She probably thinks she's in like Woodstock. She was dancing like she was doing one of these.
Oh yeah, yes. That's grooving.
And then she kept bringing up like ladies, like power to us, but her entire band was men. It was very odd, but tons of fun. Blondie was amazing. They had like Bad Bunny, who's obviously huge like these days.
Yeah.
Blackpink, a Korean group, so it was groups from all over the world.
So far, I've only known who Calvin Harris is. Like every other person, I know that Bad Bunny is somebody that our teammates make fun of me for not knowing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I still don't know who Bad Bunny is, though.
It's a reggaeton. It's a Spanish. Okay. This guy.
Not what I was gonna guess. Not at all.
Oh yeah, no. It sounds like it's gonna be like the Pussycat Dolls reincarnated, but it's just. It was like if Pitbull was attractive and actually sounded good. It would be Bad Bunny.
Wow.
But, I mean, yeah, Blondie was
Yeah.
there, Blink-182.
I love
Yeah,
Blink-182.
Blink-182.
I might have some Googling to do for some of the names you've dropped already, but that was something that I read about later on about the festival, that like Prince was at one of the early Coachella
Yep.
festivals, where it kind of put it into perspective for me of like, yeah, this is like an amazing music festival where you can see the people live that you've only been listening to, radio, CD, downloading their music, whatever, and see them all in one place. And it's, when it gets corrupted by consumerism and overpriced things, those are the kind of things that make it not fun. It's not that like the festival itself is like, I don't know, some evil corporate entity, or maybe it is, but that seeing all those musicians at one time with the best people in the craft, doing all that stagecraft, doing all of that crowd management to make it possible to see multiple of your favorite artists in a day. Although I do feel for those people that, all of their favorite artists are playing at the same time, or like in
Yep.
wild different locations.
Yeah, that happened a lot. And it was, because like I only knew the big name people and then the EDM people. So I was excited. I was like, oh, this guy's going and that lady's going. This is going to be so much fun. And then, of course, all of the biggest names were like at the end of the days. So, one of the days, and I think we would speak Greek to you on this one, but they had one of my favorite DJs, Eric Prydz. Then they had this guy named Labyrinth, who's really great. You probably know music by him.
Movie.
Yeah. No, I don't know was alive back then, but he's amazing. He brought out Zendaya from
I've heard of her.
Euphoria. Yeah.
What was she doing? She has a new single or something?
No, so Labyrinth did the song, I believe, for Euphoria's like theme song.
Oh.
And Zendaya came out and like sang some songs. I may be completely making that up, but that sounded right. Someone told me that. I'm just gonna repeat it. But he brought her out. I don't, whatever. And then there were other people like right then during that. I think Blackpink was still playing during that, and they're massive. They're a Korean all-girl like K-pop band.
I love an all
K-pop stans are the best. K-pop stans can run the world.
They were amazing. And I only knew about them because I went to a Lunar New Year party, and the girl who was throwing it, the only person who spoke Chinese or Korean, put on Blackpink songs in Korean and put on Korean subtitles as the correct karaoke. So we all just sat there and watched her do karaoke, but it sounded good. So
I love that. I love that.
We went out to see them.
Bitch move.
Oh, she's phenomenal. I love my friend Betty. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and it's awesome because the stages are just far enough apart from each other that the vibes are kind of kept there. So you have like, the big like Sophie Tucker, which is an amazing group. And they have a very like fun kind of slightly EDM-y, slightly kind of just pop vibe.
I like that song Drinky. I think Sophie Tucker does Drinky.
Yeah. Like Purple Hat and Summers in New York and stuff like that. And yet one stage over, you could have, some kind of like gangster rap going on. And then 2 stages over is the EDM tent. And you don't hear any overflow. You can be in your own world.
So how many stages are there? And is it the same
7
people both weekends?
Yes. So both weekends are the same people. There's sometimes a random drop-in. Like, this year, I mean, it was special this year because of Frank Ocean's.
Yeah, I was going to say, we gotta talk Frank Ocean.
Yes. But usually it's the same people both weekends. Sometimes they might change like what stages they're playing on and what time they're playing. But usually if you look at the first weekend's lineup, you can kind of get a vibe for exactly what the second weekend's going to be like, which is what I did because I went second weekend. Thank God, because Frank Ocean.
Here we go.
Frank Ocean. Oh, and that's where I think you guys lost points too, is when neither of you really, I think, knew who Frank Ocean was. And I was like, this is a man who's been around for a long time. But anyway.
I mean, I know of Frank Ocean.
I've heard him referenced. I could not tell you a single song.
Yeah, I didn't. The Orange album is the one that was like big when I was in college. But I don't know like what happened as far as why it was such a scandal, or if he recovered any points on weekend 2.
I'll tell you the official story, and then I'll tell you what we, the concert goers, believe. So, Coachella officially released that Frank Ocean, I guess, was in a biking accident before weekend one, and he hurt his ankle. And then he had this big, elaborate kind of thing that he was going to do with these ice skaters, and he was going to have 100 ice skaters like skate around him in an ice rink while he sang, and it was going to be like really cool and all this stuff. But because of his injury, they didn't do the ice skating rink, and he just had the dancers walk around him in a circle. He started about an hour late, by the way, because he wanted to defrost the ice skating rink. And so he decided he didn't want to do the ice skating rink like basically an hour before he went on. And that's why Coachella was like, well, we have the ice. Like, what do you want us to do?
Yeah, you brought ice to a desert.
Yeah, they were like, what do we in a drought too? How much water was used to do that? Thanks, Frankie. You'd think someone with the name Ocean would be more respectful of water, but whatever. And so all of that happened, and he comes out, a half hour late, whatever it was. He has them walk around him in a circle while he kind of sang a couple songs. Apparently, he sang one or two songs without even holding the microphone up to his mouth. Like it was very odd. He didn't really play any of the songs people wanted to hear. Whole thing was weird. So, very predictably, there's a parting of ways between weekend one and weekend two. His team said that he was injured and he couldn't perform the thing that he wanted to perform. Coachella, I believe, just said, fine, he was injured. We don't want to throw any, kick a horse while it's down. The rest of us just kind of think he just kind of had a mental breakdown and he's just off his rocker. That performance, even if you're injured, there's the Dave Grohls where you break your leg and you sit in a throne and you still perform. You can perform music without being on a leg. It is not that big of a problem. So we all kind of thought, maybe he's just kind of acting a bit strange these days. And Coachella was like, we're not going to chance a second weekend of that. So.
Oh, they booted him.
Yeah.
And he didn't even. Okay, so could he have been on drugs though? Like, if he had been in an accident, like, was he just like maybe like, I don't know. If I was on a shit ton of Norcos and you put me on a stage, like, I probably wouldn't hold the microphone to my mouth either. I'm gonna be real, but
that's fair. You know what? I'll give him credit. Maybe there's some validity to it. But we were all kind of trying to figure out how badly a physical injury could affect the actual performance. Yeah.
I'm more of the rest of the context of him as an artist, of not putting out music for 6 years, and like just the absolute machine that live performance is, and what the toll it takes on mentally as well, our artists, and that I could believe him being jaded. But then it's like, why let it get to that point, where you're wasting water in the desert, and artists who, spend a lot of their emotional energy to be there and be ice skaters, and then are just walking around, it's a big quagmire to be in, but I don't pretend to understand the music industry.
Completely. And like, as someone who works in mental health, it's like, I feel for him. I want him to be better. I want him to be great. But as someone who pays $350 for a ticket, and there's some people that bought the tickets just to see Frank Ocean. He's a huge name. So if you go just to see him and that happens, then, it wasn't the festival for you. So I'm on both sides of the coin there, but, they have a weird history of doing this themselves. Like, last year they had Kanye booked, and Kanye dropped out. I think he dropped out pretty close to the festival. So they ended up having to like scramble and get the weekend in with Swedish House Mafia, which ended up being a great show. I've been told I didn't go last year, but a lot of people, myself included, would have gone just for Kanye. And he drops out.
And now look where we are with that. Yeah. So did they just kind of shuffle the artists that they had for the next weekend, or did someone else replace that time slot?
It was kind of a happy accident like last year. Last year Swedish House was like a surprise guest, and then all of a sudden they were like, all right, they're headlining. So same thing this year. But like a couple days before the first weekend, they released the lineup, and Blink-182 was a complete surprise. And then the weekend after, they were like, hey, guess what? Blink-182 is going to headline. And they were like, happy to do so. And it was the first time in a long time that Blink-182 was performing with its like main cast of characters.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So big storyline. And then they also got a second surprise guest, which was Skrillex, and then these two DJs that you guys may not have heard of, but Skrillex, this guy Fortet, who looks like Rick from Rick and Morty in live action, and Fred again, who's an amazing DJ. And so the three of them actually performed like an encore set right after Blink-182. And they actually used the
Skrillex.
Yeah. They used the ice skating rink that Frank Ocean was supposed to use. They like melted it down, and then they just reused that rink and like DJ'd in the middle of it. So it was
cool. There you go.
It was fun. They made something out of it, you know. But yeah, so they do have these surprise guests that pop in, which is tons of fun.
I mean, I'll be real. Like, I don't like big crowds of people, but like Blink-182 is something that I would love to see. I'm like apparently going to some massive festival in Lisbon this year and going to see Lizzo. And the only reason I'm down is because one, I didn't pay for it, and two, it's fucking Lizzo, right? Like there are some groups that I'm not a huge music person. I have like my kind of like groups that I listen to, and I'm very loyal to that. But I get it. I think like those experiences too, especially going and like not knowing what exactly you're going to get and like who's going to pop in, that would probably be like very enticing for me, because I love a little surprise where you're like, oh, I'm just going to see this band, and oh, they pulled out who so-and-so, and I love that. Like, that would just be so fun.
Yeah, and that happens a lot. I would say it happens a bit more when there's DJs, just because DJs have so many songs with so many other people that you'll have like a DJ bring out another DJ, or a DJ bring out a singer they made a single with, especially like the Calvin Harrises of the world, who have a song with everyone who's ever been famous. But, you know, at this one alone, like Wet Leg brought out Dave Grohl. You know, he played drums for them. Zendaya came out. Ellie Goulding came out.
That's cool.
I believe The Weeknd made an appearance. Future came out and like a surprise sets. They came out during this incredible guy that I had never heard. And this is a perfect example. Like, I had never really dug into this guy, Metro Boomin, who's awesome. I knew some of his music, but I never really knew his name. And I randomly saw his set, and he brought out The Weeknd and Future and Offset. And I believe Weekend 1, he brought out 21 Savage, and I was like, who the hell is this guy? And now I'm hooked on his music. So you can really kind of stumble upon some great stuff. I did get my phone stolen during Metro Boomin.
No.
But
Yeah. I accidentally ended up in a rave a few years ago, and the first thing that happened.
Yep.
Well, it's a long story that doesn't need to be told here. I within like 3 minutes of being there, my friend's phone and my friend's wallet got stolen. Two different guys, and I was just like, this is why I hate people. Like, it's stressful, and like you get the worst of worst, you also get the best of best, because at festivals you also get that person who walks up to you and is like, here, have like a mushroom brownie, and you're like, wow, that's so nice of you.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's wild. You have the big contrast. And apparently there was like a guy that security were like, you know, this guy's acting kind of weird, and they looked in his bag and there were like 200 phones.
Whoa.
And so I actually went to Lost and Found. And by the way, Lost and Found at Coachella, phenomenal.
Yeah, that's my favorite thrift store.
Yeah.
Love to shop those.
Oh, Disneyland getting it was phenomenal. So I went over to Lost and Found, and I was like, it's gonna be what, like some 50-year-old guy who's on his phone, just with a little bucket, and it has like a bunch of shit, and he's like, just take what you want. It was fantastic. It was like 4 or 5 windows, like DMV style, and then there was an iPad, and you could literally go in. There were like, it was like you know, IDs, and you can click the ID tab, and it would have a picture of every ID they found, and then phones and a picture of every phone, and they would charge them and then click the button so that you could see the background. And it was like a picture of every phone, and you could set up an alert. So if they found anything with your name on it, it would alert to your email. And so I literally, like, my phone had a wallet case on it with my ID and my credit card. And I will say, whoever stole my phone, good guy. He turned in my ID. Kept the credit card.
Interesting.
Fine. Fair enough. Fine.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
But you do need the ID to get anything else. So like,
That's what, yeah.
Yeah, he's
I
like, you
needed
can get back on your feet, but let me.
This guy just
get your
lost his
credit card.
phone. He probably needs to drink. I'll give him his ID back, you know?
okay, so here we're now getting into one that made my little event planner heart go pitter patter. So thank you for really expressing that. Like that brought me a lot of joy. And now, like, I want to know, like, what are the logistics? So, like, what can you bring in? Do they pat you down? How do you prepare for this? Are you staying in the desert? I have so many more questions.
I know. I'm like, do you bring a
Yes.
tent? Do you pick out your outfits? Are you making playlists along the way? Okay. So many questions. All right, back up, Jackie. What were
Okay.
you?
Yes to all of the above. I'll run through them and then just interject wherever you want. But
Okay.
security. So we did not drive onto Coachella. We did not camp there. We did the Airbnb route, which I highly recommend.
Okay.
We got an Airbnb. It was like a 6-bedroom. We put like 20 people in there. Very affordable. And also, I mean, fantastic. You get back from the long day, you lay down, you get a hot tub. You can take a shower.
Yes.
Huge. So for us, and what we did was we bought shuttle passes. So instead of Ubering, people Uber to the festival and you're in a huge line, you have to wait, and the Uber costs $80 because it's like 20 times surcharge. What we did was we bought a pass from, the shuttles will pick up from like 4 or 5 locations. You can drink on the shuttle. They literally just say like, hey, have fun. You're walking on with like 5 Bud Lights. And they shuttle you straight to the venue. And there's a little area that the shuttles drop off at that regular cars don't get access to. So there's basically no line. You just walk right on up. You're right in. It's a little maybe line, but nothing big, and the main entrance is going to be packed to the brim. You have to wait hour to get in.
These are the details that people need.
Shuttle pass, highly recommend.
Multi-pass.
Yep.
Multi-pass.
Yeah. And but yeah, so we got an Airbnb, and it's definitely the move because camping, it's fun. If you're gonna do it all the way, like do it. You want to get in the vibe. You want to do it once to say you did it. Go ahead. And some people, that's like their style. They'll get super baked. They have a great time. They love camping outside. They'll put up the campfire, whatever. But on the way in, they do search your cars. At least they did when my friends went a couple of years ago. I don't know if they did this year, but they did do a little bit of a search for the cars. So if you are into drugs and you're bringing them on, that might be something to think about. But also, you don't have any control over what the people next to you are doing. So if you do get plotted next to the people that are playing, screamo music till 4 a.m, well, they took Molly and they need to wear it off, so they're going to keep doing that, and you can't do anything.
I'm not okay with that.
And if you took shrooms and all of a sudden these people are making your trip go terrible, then oopsie, you have nowhere to go. And then the showers, there are showers, long lines, cold.
Okay.
So
you're really selling it here.
I'm telling you, the Airbnb.
Yeah.
Can you bring in your own food though, or do you have to buy food there?
To the camping, you can bring your own food. To the venue, you can bring in like snacks. You can get like Cliff Bars and small things like that. You can't really bring in like a 3-course meal, but you can't like takeout. You can't really bring in, but yeah, you can bring in small little packaged stuff. We brought in a bunch of protein bars because we planned it as, they start around like noonish to 1ish. So we would get there around like, I would say 3. So we'd have lunch before we went. You'd have a little protein bar mid-afternoon, and then you get like a dinnerish food before the big names go on. And it's true, like it is overpriced, but there is a lot of stuff that's like not terrible.
And for LA prices, probably not too much of a difference.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. And they had a lot of stuff where like if you got the biggest size and split it among 2 people, it actually became fine. Like my girlfriend and I split like a jerk chicken, which of course is like the classic rave food. We had
Is
a
it?
jerk.
I'm like,
No.
I don't know. Oh, okay.
I think
Okay, I was like, really?
I think classic rave food is like ecstasy and water. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
we got like jerk chicken for like $30, but it was huge. So we split it and we were completely fine. The trick was every now and then they have these little popsicle stands and they look like a scam because it is expensive popsicles, like $7, but they are the greatest popsicles I've ever had. And this was before I was fucked up. This is the greatest popsicles on earth. And it's like 110 degrees. So you need something just to cool you down. But
No.
to your planning point, you can't bring in snacks. You can bring in a water bottle. It can't be like full of anything because they think, you spiked it with something. But you can bring in an empty like Camelback or a water bottle or something, and you can fill it at free water stations. And they have tons of free water stations.
That's the only time I don't get pissed because like I've been to so many festivals and I have been part of planning of festivals where they're like, no, that's where we'll make the most money. We're going to sell water. No one can bring in water. And I'm like, that is a basic like need.
Yeah.
Like that's not
In
a
the
commodity.
desert, on drugs.
Humans need water. Yeah. Like what the fuck? So I'm glad they do that.
They do free water stations. They've been doing it for like a long time because I think they had that issue a couple years in even where like people were overheating. It was a terrible experience. So they do that. And it's $2 to get a bottle of water. It's they made it like a rule across every stand. Every group will like if you want to go get your like boba, you can get an $11 boba or you can get a $2 bottle of water. You can get your $50, whatever hibachi meal. I don't know if there's a Benihana stand, or you can get $2 bottle of water. So it's
awesome.
Really well done. Yeah.
I'm starting to turn a corner on Coachella.
But it is hot during the day. Like it's like, it was like 80s, maybe low 90s. But
you said 110 a minute ago, and I
was being
cried.
facetious. And so when the sun starts going down, it's amazing. So you'll get there around 3. So 3 to like 6, it can be really hot, and you have to like be prepared. But once it hits like sun starts going down, it's perfect. It couldn't be nicer out.
I can believe that. It's like that 3 to 6 time that just I hate the heat. Bex is a lizard. She like will just bathe in the sun all day, and I don't know if you can see my complexion super well, but I'm like a ghost. So I'm like, can I bring a parasol? Like, what do you do?
Gotta bring like SPF Irish or something.
Meanwhile, I'm like, am I gonna get too chilly at night? Should I bring my puffer jacket?
I will say something that did was a great move was bring a spare, especially like women who you can bring like very small pieces of clothing, like fit them in a bag or something. If you bring a spare shirt, it can mean a world of difference because during the day you're just sweating your balls off, or female equivalent, and then when you hit the nighttime, that like it can be kind of like cold because you have this like wet shirt or something. So it is nice to have a like spare shirt you can change into right when it turns like sundown.
I'm about them layers. I'm here for this.
People do bring jackets. It does get a little chilly at night, but you have to like just tie it around your waist during the day, which I mean, it's a look now.
Yeah, but you know what? Now I'm realizing that the fishnets aren't so much just about aesthetic. They also serve a function, a little bit of layering, but probably an awful tan. Probably an awful tan.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people wearing fishnet. It was outfit-wise. You can get, I think that was one of your 2 points, Bex, but it was fishnets. Every girl there was wearing like, everything you bought that you wanted to wear out, but you couldn't wear anywhere else, you wore to Coachella, I feel like was the thing. Guys were super simple. They were just wearing shorts and Hawaiian shirts. I'm all for it. But
every time guys get an easier deal.
Oh, it's great. I went to Marshall's. I got like a matching set. That was fantastic. But like, and I honestly got a little envious of the girls though, because like every morning they spent so much time like really investing into they were so proud of their outfits. They had the perfect like makeup with the gems on their eyes and like eyeshadow and like all these like cool things going on. My girlfriend had like a teal lipstick. Like it was a cool vibe. But then I didn't realize how much went into like, I'm going to wear this really sexy top, but like all this tape to make sure my boobs don't come out, and like eye-opening.
There's a lot that goes into things, and it's amazing what women do to ourselves too.
I had a hilarious thing happen. It wasn't at Coachella, but it was at Ultra in Miami. I went with this group of girls. I didn't even know one of the girls. She was a friend of a friend of a friend. And she said to us just randomly, I was like, oh shit, I forgot my ticket back in the hotel room. And one of my friends goes, oh, hey, can you grab some tampons? Like, you know, whatever her name is, Claire is on her period. And I was like, sure, yeah, whatever. And so I went back and I realized I didn't know what a tampon looked like. And so I just found like a bunch of stuff. There was a tampon, what I now know to be a pad. Like, I think I grabbed like a hairbrush. I didn't know what the hell was happening. I just grabbed a bunch of shit and I came back with it. And when I was walking in, the security guy literally asked me like, what is this? Like tampon? And I was like, I don't know.
Bro.
I don't know. And he goes, why do you have this? And I was like, girlfriend's on her period. And he just goes,
don't ask me questions, bro.
And literally he was like, I feel like there's drugs in here, but I also feel like your life is just hell right now. Just go in.
Yeah.
So
yeah, fuck
learned
that.
a lot.
Well, way to take one for the lady team there, you know? Yeah. I don't know if you know this, but you can Google. Like, you could Google. Maybe you just didn't want that in your algorithm, just tampon Googling.
You know what? I probably should have. That's a good idea. Well, I thought I had the right one when it had like, I found a motivational quote on the side, and I was like, this seems like a tampon. Like, be your true self or whatever it was. And I was like, all right. I wish condoms had that. I wish condoms were like, you're everything you need to be. You're all the man this woman needs.
You got this, champ. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, condoms should come with demotivational quotes. Like, are you really sure you want to do this?
That's true. That does turn me on more to get negged. That's true.
Okay, great. Okay. What, Jackie, any other questions that you fired off?
I have so many. Well, okay, let's think about this. Okay. Is it in Coachella? Is that the town?
So there's Coachella Valley and there's Indio.
Okay, but it is the place, so I was not wrong.
It is a place. I don't know. I'm going to look up right now actually if it's an area or if it's an actual town. So it's a valley that includes a bunch of other areas. So I'll give you credit on the area, but Indio would be the actual town. So Indio, and then if you know like Palm Springs, it's like right next to there.
Yeah, Bex took me there one time and I hated it.
To Palm Springs?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I'm going back next month.
Are you really? I'm going in
July.
I might be there.
What are you going for?
We can meet up. My parents have been doing this weird let's find out where we want to die kind of tour of America, and
oh my God.
Palm Springs is
amazing.
You know what? They sold their house right when COVID hit. And then they were like going to move into New York City to be with my brother. And they were like, we're not going to move into New York during COVID. So they started just kind of moving around the country. And they're doing like the college life, just like short-term rentals in a bunch of spots. And so they just got finished with their pilgrimage to Florida. Mm-hmm. And now they're coming out here, and they were here last year before they moved out there. So they were doing all around LA, and now they're going to go out to Palm Springs and test out the golf courses, I guess. But
that's where my uncle and his husband are trying to go. Like, they're about to live that Palm Springs life too.
Phenomenal area. Phenomenal Pride area as well. Like, it is
their Pride
amazing.
Is supposed to be my friends go every single year. They fly down, they do costumes, like, it's a whole...
I only go to Pride festivals in like New York where it's cold outside, so when you see the guys in Speedos, you're like, don't feel as bad about yourself.
I was a Pride director, so I just basically go to every Pride festival and just question my sexuality, I think.
Pride Berlin,
hell
baby.
Yeah, we're going to Pride Berlin next year. I'm
Pride
straight, so that's why I
Berlin.
question my sexuality, because I'm like, why am I here? But
The straightest person I know.
the straightest.
A brag for girls, an insult for guys.
But yeah, we'll do Pride Berlin next year with some of my good friends, and it should be, I don't know, I love Europe, so we'll go to Pride, and then we'll go get drunk on the Seine or something, and
That
France,
sounds
and I'll be
amazing.
happy.
Wow.
me-
Okay, well, couldn't be our podcast without being derailed a little bit, so had to take a
I
detour.
love a side tour. It's just, okay. 7 stages. It's clearly labeled. Do you get a map?
Yeah, there's an app. So
Ooh, okay. I bet they've made a lot of advancements over the years. We've got the DMV style Lost and Found, the digital map.
They have maps, and so they have maps you can get in person. I like physical shit just because I have a tendency to either lose or give my phone away.
Apparently.
Yeah, well, I've lost my phone before, but I also like to prevent that. And also to make sure I'm still in the moment, I usually give my phone to, like, there's a girl with a fanny pack or something, and I'll be like, hey, can you put this in your bag? I'll just go and whatever. And I like kind of adventuring around and not knowing that I'm just kind of like on my own without my phone. Like it honestly felt fun after I got over being upset. It was fun to just not have a phone and be like, I'll meet you by that post over there. Like,
I'm the friend who caretakes, so like my friend Joshy always loses his phone, and I am always just frantic wondering where Joshy is, because he wanders too. So like I'm like, how is Joshy gonna know when we go back to the hotel? How are we gonna find him? What if someone takes Joshy home? And my friends are like, then Joshy will be very happy.
Yes, that's my biggest. It is a true divide, but when you don't know where Ethan is, Ethan's doing Ethan. When you don't know where Becky is, let's go find Becky. It is a little bit of a change, but I am glad that I lost my phone, not my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Of course, she's responsible, so that's probably why that happened. But yes, so they have an app, and you can not only view a map of the place and like all that stuff, you can literally select the artists that you want to see, and it'll make a lineup for you. And so you can check your phone. That was my
next question. That's really
yeah. You can check your phone and be like, oh, I'm at, Flo Milli. I want to see A-Track next. I got to go from this stage to that stage. Let me go here. And then you can also see like, oh, I didn't realize that this person was playing. Oh, I didn't realize this person was popping in. And sometimes they'll have surprise people they didn't announce just on the app. And you can just click it.
I love this.
So that's phenomenal. They have like a what do you call it? What's the word I'm trying to think of? Almost like a compass kind of thing. Yeah. Well, they have a QR code, but like you also have like almost like a compass kind of thing where you can see like if you're heading in the right direction.
Your GPS.
Yeah. So the app is phenomenal. I use the old tactic of, excuse me, where's the Gobi stage? And then someone would tell me, and then 5 feet later I'd go, is this the Gobi stage? And like, no, this is Mojave. And you're like, oh, okay.
I do both of those things though, actually. So I am using the map simultaneously and fact checking the app, because I don't trust technology and I don't trust humans. So I gotta use both. I gotta use both and see what's happening.
Yeah, once the sun goes down, you can use like the North Star or something and
smoke
find
signals.
your way around. Yeah, but no, it's fantastically done. And to answer a question I think you guys had in part 1 is they have phenomenal staff. Like set up. So there's a ton of people that are like set up around the festival for security and for like getting things going. But also I think a couple of years ago they had someone complain that they had been like groped a bunch and like sexual, there was sexual harassment happening, which, when you're in the thick of the crowd, it's very hard for them to police. And so they put on a bunch more staff whose only job is to be around for like, if you have a thing that's like that person's being whatever, then you can go and talk to them. And I saw a lot of people that were being brought away. I never saw what they did, but they looked like they weren't on drugs. They didn't have any kind of like reason to be, maybe they got into a fight or something. I don't know. But a lot of them just seemed like they were normal people.
Yeah.
And it probably was like, hey, that guy was invading my space and was doing this, and all these other people corroborated it. And so staff was like, you are not welcome here. Let's get out
I
of here.
love that. Like there's such a change in culture lately, and the way that we like approach things. Like I was even watching something on TV earlier, and just like the mean person on TV 10 years ago, that person would have been idolized, and now it's like shamed. And like the way as culture is like protecting individuals, and it's not just women, it's all people. There are men that get sexually harassed. There are people who are non-binary and non-gender that are definitely things. So like I think, yeah, it's nice to see that culture change, and that, you know, places like Coachella, who are taking a lot of people's lives into their hands, are being safe with the way that they're planning it and making sure that people attending the festival are.
Oh yeah, and they have, on top of that, like they have a huge medical, like phenomenal medical like presence. So not every stage, but every like big section of the festival has a medical, like, I wouldn't call it a tent. It's like a almost like room. They've kind of set up this like pop-up medical like space. And they are like super with it. You go up and you check in when you get there. Like if you're going on your own accord, then you go up to the medical tent and you like say to them, hey, I'm here because of this, that, and this. So, like, after my phone got stolen, I was in a super bad mood, and so I needed to like, get my energy out. And my girlfriend was like, well, you can't go for a run because you don't have a phone, so you won't like find us. And, you know, I mean, Bex knows me, like I'm super energetic, so I need like a way to, I'm sure you've gotten that from this, but I needed a way to like get my energy out. So I climbed a tree, and great view, but on the way up, I like kind of, you know, got cuts on my arms and legs because for a while there weren't branches, so I was just shimmying. And when you shimmy bark, it just like slices your arm. So people at the hotline were like, Tyler, you need to maybe call in. But so I got those injuries, and I went to the medical tent, and just within a second they were just like, oh, well, what is it? Is it an allergy? I'm like, no, like I did this, that. I
climbed a tree.
Yeah, they gave me like a bunch of antibiotic. Yeah, one of these morons.
Give them the Paul Bunyan special.
It would have been better if I was, and they were like, and what drugs were you taking? And I was like, none. They were like, okay. But they gave me like antibiotic ointment, and like I was able to just go to town. They loved me, by the way, because I was the only person in the room that wasn't like ODing. So I was the only one that could like talk to them. So you had like 3 people behind me like puking in the trash bags, and I'm just sitting there just like, so what'd you guys think of yesterday? Like,
wow. So this is no fire festival here. We've got everything thought out and by now perfected, it sounds like.
Yes, they had professional planners. Ja Rule wasn't invited, so it was a really well done festival. But yeah, medical staff was great. All of the different, I will say, VIP had some benefits, but it's not worth it, in my opinion.
Okay, there's a VIP. Okay, so there's
a VIP.
More expensive package.
Yeah, you can get in like through your own line, and you can get, there is the one thing I will say is better. Like there wasn't like a VIP viewing section. Like it wasn't like you get to, I think there may have been VIP viewing sections, but they were like very small, and they weren't just like in the center, we are paying more, we get it. You know, unlike other festivals I've been to, it was, you know, I think artists got to go into like this little section in the center. But if you weren't like a performer, which understandable, Billie Eilish isn't going to be in the middle of the crowd. But VIP did have air-conditioned bathrooms.
Ooh, okay. That's something. Okay.
Is something. I don't know if it's worth an extra like $500 to $1,000. I know,
that's a funny bargaining chip to be like, air-conditioned bathrooms.
But if you haven't had any other air conditioning, that might be worth it, because you're like, I guess I'm just gonna go pee for a half hour, like cool down. Like,
there is an air conditioned building, so if you do need to get cooler or like avoid the sun, there's this big like rainbow structure in the middle of the entire festival.
Whoa.
And it's like a spiral like ramp that goes up this middle of this building, and every floor is a new color. So like it gradually goes to different colors of the rainbow. And so you can look out those windows, and when you're inside, it's tinted to be like red or green or purple or yellow. And it's super cool. You can see all of the stages. You can like look around for a while. And there's AC in there, but you know, you wouldn't hang out in there. It's kind of just, it looks kind of like a warehouse.
Where I would be hanging out.
It's got your like opera glasses inside.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I would be vibing so hard. That's my spot. Is off in the corner in an air-conditioned, colorful room. What else could a girl ask for? Okay. Anything else that we need to touch on before Bex and I try to re-sum this up and see if we can improve our scores?
I think the only other thing I would jump on is you guys mentioned that, you know, there's a streaming version, and there is. So if you're like trying to dip your toe in the water and get to Coachella, but you don't know if you want to go yet and you want to feel it out, I mean, you can look at the after videos from last year, but you can also look at it on, I think it's free on YouTube. And then
that's what I heard. It's free
for 24 hours afterwards. Every set is still fully online. So like there were people that I wanted to see that I didn't get a chance to see. So after I went home, I was like, oh, I want to see what like, you know, Labyrinth's set was like. And you could just go back and like scroll through and watch it.
Okay, very cool.
So yeah, they've got.
Okay, that's the Jackie version. That's actually
yeah. Let's
watching the free version with my cats.
With our cats, yeah.
Just having some sushi.
Essentially, that's
yeah. Can't have sushi in the desert. Just do everything that we couldn't do.
Ridiculous
if we were there.
raw fish and 110 degrees.
It's disgusting.
I would still order. I would still find somewhere to order oysters, though. Knowing me,
you would. It's disgusting. That is also disgusting. How many times I've had to watch you eat oysters. All
right, Jackie. Operation Coachella. Let's go.
Okay. I think that there's two different sides. There's the I'm attending side, and then there's the I feel like almost the putting on a Coachella side, and that sounds like the crux of the planning of Coachella is get your fucking bands in order and make sure that they're not idiots. I think that's step one that's probably the biggest chunk I learned out of this podcast today. Now, for actually going to Coachella, which seems like what we're talking about, I think it's like you get a plan. So I would definitely Airbnb and do this shuttle and VIP. That's actually what I would do.
And you got to get your group, right? Because you're like, who am I splitting this with to make this affordable? The Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you've got to get your tickets far enough in advance. I don't know if they keep continuing to go up or if they sell out, but would definitely want to make sure you got those.
They would sell out right after they go live, but especially living in LA, the big key is, you know, everyone knows someone who bought a ticket and then they have a wedding that weekend, so they can't go. They'll sell it at face value or even cheaper. So if you want to go to Coachella and you live in LA, either get it the day it's released or wait until it's closer to the date and then start feeling around for people that have extra tickets.
And that was Bex's method. I would go in advance. I would have the VIP tickets. I would have everything planned out. And you know what? Fuck the shuttle. We're getting a limo. And then I would also have a meal plan for all the meals that we cook at the house. So that would all be in order. And then the next part, Bex, and we touched on this a little bit, but the outfits, the jewels in the eyes, the makeup, this part is my vibe.
I'm gonna need to lay out on my floor, like, this is Thursday's outfit, this is Friday's outfit. Like, I've got to know beforehand, and then I've got to double that, bring twice as many. You never know.
You don't know, like, something might not work out. And as we learned, it's nice to have an extra shirt in your bag. And if you want to do a little change up,
and if you're in the Airbnb, if you're driving, you know, leave your luggage at the house.
And leave as much as your stuff at your house as possible, because you might lose it. So, but if you do lose it, there is a tent to go to, and they are very helpful, and they have an iPad that you can look at stuff on.
Yep.
What else we missing, Bex?
Water bottle, bring an empty water bottle, but you could probably get $2 water. Probably would need to do some off-air convos about how to get your drugs in.
Yes.
I don't know if I mentioned this, but security, they kind of just look at you once and just say walk on by. So they don't really do any kind of real check. They don't pat you down at all. Okay. Nothing.
Oh, so they just don't give a fuck. Okay, well, that's a choice.
There's a metal detector.
Okay.
So if you're planning on taking metal drugs, then you're screwed.
Metal drugs are bad, or if you have
a
flask.
Of titanium.
Yeah.
So make sure you have a Ziploc bag of vodka and not a flask.
There you go. Well, what you should do is, this is what we did, not for Coachella, but for a different festival in New Orleans. You go a week or two prior to the event. You bury a bottle of vodka.
No caching.
You have to be kidding me.
You bury a bottle of vodka near like an identifiable tree. And then you go in after the festival starts and you dig up the vodka and you have a full handle. And then not only do you have your own stuff for you, you can sell other people vodka for $10 a shot.
Okay, but like, what if it's like at a fairgrounds and you can't get on the fairgrounds before? Like, do you break in to dig your vodka hole?
Apparently, it wasn't an issue.
How far are we going with this?
I've never tried to do it on a place where you can't get in without a reason to be there, but you could, I'm sure, go for like cowboy poetry weekend where they're not going to have that much security, and then you bring in your bottle and bury it then.
How happy were you when you dug up that bottle? Like, how much of geniuses did you guys feel like?
I honestly didn't think we needed the drink. We genuinely felt so high off of just accomplishment.
You'd make it a great event planner then.
Okay,
wow.
so
I think that might be one of the best pro tips. Like, I have big boobs, so like my pro tip is always just like, how much can we shove under my boobs? And I can fit a lot of mini bottles of vodka in my boobs. Just to
make sure you always go to the guy then, because the girls sometimes will do a little tap and see if anything moves.
I just wink.
Yeah. Go to in the Me Too era. Go to a male guard. They're like, hey, I'm not even gonna. I did an ocular pat down, and you look
ocular pat down. Man, Sonny, dude, I got my balls tapped once.
As you should.
Now you have a new king.
Yeah,
now you have
didn't
a new
even
king.
have to pay for it. Yeah, it was nice. But no, it was at a rave in New York. This guy just without
was it just like
anything.
Like a slight bloop, or was it like a caress? Like
it was a bloop. But it was an aggressive bloop. Like, I felt it in my, like, chest. It was...
From testes to chesties. May we stay besties.
We were out partying, and I won't say which friend, but he lost drugs in his gooch. Like, he forgot that they were in his gooch. And
I hate when that happens.
Hours later, he was like, I found the drugs. They were in my gooch.
Just taped?
I don't even think he taped them there. I think he just maybe tucked nicely. I don't actually know how a gooch works.
Okay, well, once again, derailed. I think that we are ready for Coachella. I fully turned the corner. I want to see amazing music live. I want to be out there in the desert. I want to convince Jackie to go half on an Airbnb with me and some friends and shuttle our butts.
To pay for it is what she wants.
Oh, I have two last pro tips before you wrap up, which is they're not going to be as fun as the first one, but bring 2 pairs of sneakers, because if you wear the same one all 3 days, your feet will start to hurt just because of the way that the shoes get shaped. So if you wear a different shoe the second day and go back to the first, your feet will feel better. True fact. And then the second is, make sure, especially ladies, if you're planning on wearing a lot of girls wear bathing suits or something, right? Where or even less, where it's there is no fabric in between their thighs or anything. At least for guys, I always wear spandex, under my shorts, because if you wear anything else, it'll chafe. Mm-hmm. Ladies, I don't know as much. I mean, girls seem to be wearing bathing suits all 3 days, and I don't, you can see their legs; they're not red. I don't know what's happening, but spandex
Magic.
might be a
Yeah.
move. Yeah.
Also, it's deodorant. If you just put deodorant there, that's what does the trick. You're welcome. And I didn't even have to go to Coachella to let you know that one.
We turned the tables on you. Gave you a tip.
Now what's our scores?
Got him.
No, I like where you guys got to. You got everything. I don't know if there was anything you missed, so 10s all around.
Well, hopefully we helped inspire some future trips for other people planning to go to Coachella that want to just, vibe out and, let the spirits fly free.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Tyler, for coming and joining us and teaching us the ways of Coachella. And I think you got 1.5 converts here. Like, I think Bex is in. I'm possibly in. Maybe if Blink 182 plays again. So, like, I'm more willing to do it now than I would have before.
Red Hot Chili Peppers released an album this year. Who knows?
It was a gamble, but I don't think you're gonna get Jackie on that one.
Bjork, I don't know what you're into.
No, I honestly, it would be like Blink 182. That's really, or that's it.
Well, they'll probably be
Fall
there
Out Boy.
next year.
No, I don't like anything enough. Okay, we could play this game all day, and it'll probably just make me seem lamer than I already do. But anything that you want to plug? Like, where can we find you? Where can the fans find you?
Yeah, Instagram, TikTok at Tyler Strauss Comedy, YouTube, same thing. Real easy across the board. I have a website, tylerstrausscomedy.com. You can get my magazine. Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Getting back into print. That's what people need.
I love this.
But yeah, you can see all dates for me going out for comedy shows. Everything's there. So yeah, hit me up.
Awesome. Well, we'll make sure we link all of that. And I say we, I mean, I will make sure that I link all of that in our show notes.
Also, I'm releasing a poetry book in the next month or so. So if anybody has
I love that.
any reason to buy raunchy poetry.
Raunchy poetry, not your regular
Holidays
poetry.
are coming up.
Raunchy, yeah. I know what to get, Mom.
Anyone looking to get their stocking stuffed, head on over
Great
to
Father's Day gift. Yom
I'll get
Kippur
my brother
gift.
that for Father's Day. It won't
Maybe,
be weird
you know
at
what,
all.
maybe you can sell some of those poems as motivations for condom boxes.
There we go. There we go.
Bring it back
Yeah.
together.
And you can use the tag experts on the purchase of those.
Promo code
Oh,
expert.
there we go.
All right, Jackie, let's go to Coachella.
This has been a Just Being Better Media production.